So this is the iPhone 16 Pro, goes for $999 plus tax. Also, if you get this without a carrier, it's $1029. This one over here is also $899 with a carrier. If you go without a carrier unlocked, it's $929. Both of these are over $1,000 with taxes or close to it. This one might be coming in a little bit less, but the 16 Pro generally is more. So you are going to pay more for this phone in general. However, which one has the better price to value ratio, aka what you're getting for the specs, for the money? And it's kind of a toss up here because you're getting much more zoom here, a more premium body here with titanium build, and you're getting the Pro lineup, but you're sacrificing the size of the display. I mean, you're down 0.4 inches and less battery life because of that. But you do get the faster chip here. So it's kind of a tough justification there between both of them. It's a toss-up. So it's kind of more what you value. If you want under $1,000 price tag, but you want a larger screen, big battery life, the 16 Plus is going to be a better option. But you do have less zoom, but you have close to the same performance in the chip department, and both of them have the same 8 gigs of RAM. So they are both going to support the Apple Intelligence. Now, from the body and build perspective, something really neat to understand about both of these is that they weigh the exact same. So you do have 199 grams on both, yet you have a smaller body, so it's going to feel more dense on the iPhone 16 Pro. It feels kind of lightweight for the iPhone 16 Plus for the size. It's a really nice feel if you like a lighter weight product for sure. Now, other areas about this phone's in terms of the body and the build is that the iPhone 16 Plus is actually thinner than the iPhone 16 Pro. It's only by 0.5 millimeters, but it's probably coming more in the way of how far the cameras stick off the body for the iPhone 16 Pro. However, at the end of the day, thinner phone for the iPhone 16 Plus. So if you want a thinner phone, it's going to be the iPhone 16 Plus. I also tend to feel like because of that lighter weight on the Plus model, it definitely kind of, the way it like disperses the weight across the body or kind of like spreads it out, it just feels lighter than the iPhone 16 Pro. The 16 Pro feels like that weight is more concentrated in the middle just because it's a smaller product. So I prefer this for a lighter weight feel. Also has an aluminum frame, titanium frame. So titanium is stronger metal. If you're a little bit more clumsy with dropping your phone, you don't use a case often, the 16 Pro might hold up a little bit better, but it's probably not going to be anything substantial. And if you're coming from an older iPhone, which you probably are, you don't get a SIM card tray on either. So both of these do have eSIM only. In addition, right here, you'll see we do have action buttons. And then if I bring it around over here, we do have ourselves camera control buttons. In addition, one thing to note about the bodies here, though, is that they reach to the power button as well as the volume and action button are going to be higher for the iPhone 16 Plus. So if you are looking to have a little bit more of an ergonomic feel, easier to reach buttons, of course, it's going to be the portability of the iPhone 16 Pro. To wrap it up in the body and the build, I just have to say that pick the iPhone 16 Pro if you want portable and premium. Pick the iPhone 16 Plus if you want the larger size, but you still want premium, but you're okay with sacrificing the titanium frame as well as the extra camera. The battery life improvements are going to be really good here over the 16 Pro, and you're going to get that larger screen for better media experience, especially when watching video and reading content. But when talking about the displays, both of these displays are OLED displays. They're both Super Retina XDR OLED HDR10 Plus support, and both are Dolby Vision. In addition, they're both 1959, and they both offer the same exact 460 pixels per inch. However, do keep in mind though that these products right here definitely do have a little bit different of a display experience. Even though they're both 1959, the iPhone 16 Pro is a little bit smaller for sure. I have the text kind of like a little bit high over here. Let me go ahead and bring that down. It just feels like a more wider, comfortable reading experience for the iPhone 16 Plus. So if you like more text to be displayed across the screen, it's going to be the 16 Plus. And remember, even though we're looking at a larger screen, we're carrying the same weight. So you get more content for the same weight that you're carrying around. So personally, I prefer for media the iPhone 16 Plus. Now, I do like the scrolling that's promotion here on the 16 Pro. But honestly, just for reading some news or watching some videos, I really don't care that much about that. I care about it for basically everyday heavy use. And so for me, from a spec perspective, I do prefer the 120 hertz, but in the promotion, but it just feels like when you're just consuming content or watching, you know, some videos, like you're not really thinking about that too much. Although scrolling is a little bit jarring if you're coming from promotion to this. But if you're coming from like a 12 Pro Max, 11 Pro Max, SE, iPhone 11, 12, XR, any of those phones, I mean, these are just basically, did I say XR? 10R, 10R. If you're coming from any of those, you basically are going to have no issues with the 16 Plus. However, the display is nice and portable while also not feeling small for the 16 Pro. So I do prefer that they went up to the 6.3. However, a lot of people think that it's just like a much bigger phone. It really isn't. They just kind of stretched the bezels a little bit. So it still kind of feels like that 6.1 area, but just slightly bigger. But still has that portable and now of a wider screen. It might be the sweet spot for a lot of people. So I tend to prefer this if you want a large screen without a cumbersome experience in terms of the size. You'll want the 16 Pro. The other one is like they're still not putting always on display for the iPhone 16 Plus, which is really weird to me. So you can get that here for the 16 Pro. If that's something you really care about, this is going to be an excellent choice here. You'll have to skip that one altogether or go to the 16 Pro Max. Now, we don't have to waste much time here on the software. There's basically no difference. It's iOS 18 on both. You have the customization, you have the hide apps, you have all these new neat features from iOS 18, the ability to tint icons and stuff like that. Looks pretty cool with the teal. Overall, there's no enhancements really to the Plus besides that when you are in messages, you can split the message on one side. A couple of things like that. Also, when you're in landscape on the browser, there's more space to read on the larger phone. But software-wise, same update support, same everything. All the apps are exactly the same. Same software support likely too, as they're both A18 architecture. So they're both going to be really good there as well. I just can't say to pick either for the software department. It's essentially, I mean, unless you really want those little bit of a few landscape features that the Plus offers, there's really zero difference. When it comes to the actual performance though, the crazy thing is that we actually have about the same performance when it comes to our benchmarks. If you take a look at my history, and I don't think I've done a speed test with these two, I might have, but you can see that basically almost the same. So the Plus is a really compelling option from the actual CPU this year. It's not really much of a difference here. And then in performance, the real thing you're really going to just notice is a little bit smoother for the ProMotion display. That is the Achilles heel of the Plus and the base models. But from a chip perspective, these are like the 13s where they had like the same performance as the Pros and Pro Maxes. So a great year here for base and Plus model buyers. If you care about performance, I can't really say because it has the Pro name that it's way more performance than this one over here. It just really isn't. It's a very tiny amount. However, there is one note to make. They do have better GPUs. That is a fact. They have 6-core GPUs. This one has 5-core. But in actuality, the difference is like 3 FPS. Will you see it? Only the most intense gamers that actually know all of that stuff and see all that stuff will notice. Everyone else probably won't notice. But if you want slight better rendering speeds, and I mean very slight, and very slight better in terms of the GPU, that's going to be the 16 Pro. Also, keep in mind, longevity-wise, a faster GPU is always going to help the phone perform a little bit better in the long term. So this is probably the better option, the Pro, in the long term. But the 16 Plus will do really great as well for quite a bit of time, and the GPU is going to be fine as well. So from the camera perspective, the iPhone 16 Pro is the one I would pick, and mostly because you get more camera features. You get 5 times optical. You can also go 25x, no longer the 15 like on the 15 Pro. They actually made this just like the Max. In addition, 4K 60, in addition, 4K 120 on slow motion. Not only that, you can shoot in RAW formats, and the camera control button is actually slightly more useful to me on a smaller Pro just because it's easier to grip this phone. You'll probably get less of that camera shake. In addition to that, it's easier to reach on the smaller product. So this would also apply to me for the iPhone 16. It is a little bit finicky when you first play with it. But overall, I do tend to prefer the camera experience for the Pro. If you're into photography, this is the one to pick of these two. And I mean like you're into it like a hobby, like it's your thing you do. If you're just a casual user though, the 16 Plus has nearly the same optics. You just can't zoom as far. Zoom quality doesn't look as good, but it does bring the macro mode, which is like an older Pro feature. It does have great video, 4K 60, although slow-mo does not go to 4K 120. So you don't have that option here, but you do get things like action video. You still get the same front-facing camera. So for posting the social media, vlogs, selfies, things of that sort, it's still very high quality. In addition, spatial video is on both of them. Just no RAW support or nothing like that on the cameras. Also, some people might like the aesthetic more on the newer 16 Plus, the way it looks, because we're kind of used to seeing that triple camera array for the 16 Pro. At the end of the day, I would pick it like this. If you are trying to make your whole career, or you're trying to use your camera for business, professional stuff, obviously get the Pro. It has more functionality, and if you're doing photography or videography as a hobby, you definitely want the 16 Pro. If you're just a casual user, I think you'll really love the 16 Pluses. It's enough for most people. But if you're buying the 16 Pro for other reasons, you're just going to get the added bonus of having a Pro level camera on your phone anyway. So when it comes to battery life between these phones, it's pretty apparent which one to pick. The 16 Plus has not only the longer battery life, has a larger battery. So it is going to last longer in terms of cycle counts and stuff like that. Also, it just lasts longer throughout the day. So the 16 Pro is an all-day phone easy as well. But I'm going into the second day, maybe even 2 days on the 16 Plus. It is up there. So not quite max level good, but it is up there. And I just got to say, this is a no-brainer option. If you care most about the battery life, the 16 Plus, if you're on the fence between these two, is the pick. If that is like your primary thing and these are your two options, the 16 Plus is the pick. But I wouldn't be like put off by the battery life with the 16 Pro. So what I'm saying is that if more areas of the 16 Pro really, really entice you and you're like, but I just want the battery because this is going to be bad, don't think like that, because it's definitely not going to be bad. It's going to be good enough to get you through the day, but still gives you all those other things you want without having to pay the price of the Pro Max. So it's good enough. But if that is your main concern and you don't care about those 120 hertz, get the Plus. It's going to be better. A couple connectivity things. Both of them do have USB-C. However, the transfer speed is much slower for the iPhone 16 Plus. So if you are looking for faster transfer speeds, you're going to want the iPhone 16 Pro. This has USB-C Type 3.2 Gen 2. Both of them do have DisplayPort, but this is a 2.0. So pretty old tech there in the iPhone 16 Plus versus the newer one on the left. They also do have emergency SOS texting via satellite, so that is a great and potentially life-saving feature on both of them. And they both have ultra wideband support. These are Gen 2 chips in here. I will say though that the phone call quality has been very good on both. In addition to that, not only has it been good, but we have improved modems in here for what I've been seeing as better reception strength. I've been seeing better reception strength in areas I typically would have no service on my older iPhones. And I'm not saying it's amazing. I'm still only getting 1 bar in some weird areas like garages, underground basements, but I'm getting a little bit better strength than I did before with the new Qualcomm X75 modems. So the phone call quality, the connectivity, all of that stuff got a little bit faster here with Bluetooth 5.3 on board, Wi-Fi 7 on board. So these are like some of the fastest phones out there. Keep in mind though that the Pro is the only one that supports 6E, Wi-Fi 6E. So if your router has that, this one is only 6. But not everybody's using 7 just yet, but it does have support for it on both of them. So when it comes to audio performance, the iPhone 16 Pro had the better audio performance, even though it seems to have less holes on the bottom for its speaker. It still has a little bit louder audio, about 2 decibels in my testing. Also microphone holes a little bit more on the iPhone 16 Plus, although not a drastic difference here. In addition, you have the audio mix feature in the camera, which allows you to take videos, and then after the fact, once you take the video, you can tweak the audio to see how it sounds and stuff like that. Both of them do have that ability too, and it's down here. You'll go to this section right here. You'll see right here, audio mix, 4 mic array on here, so more microphones. So for recording audio, again, another Pro only feature for this one if you do a lot of that. This phone does come in this white titanium, natural titanium desert, and black. You'll be able to get this in black, teal, pink, and ultramarine. So in conclusion, which one to pick? If you're on the fence between these two, you've seen throughout this video, we talked about multiple areas. Whichever things you found yourself more resonating with, that is the phone that is likely going to make you happier. But how I would choose this is very, very simple. I would look at it like this. These are both the same price, bro, but here's what I care more about. I care more about a bigger display and longer battery life. I'll sacrifice the 120. I don't want to pay $300 extra for an iPhone Max. Get the Plus. That's you all day. If you're like, you know what, I cannot do 60 hertz. It's not for me. I need that great camera. I love the Pro series and I like a portable size. I don't like a heavy large, and I don't like these large phones. I'm tired of 6.7. I'm tired of 6 point, whatever. I'm just done with that. I want the smaller iPhone 16 Pro. I want the Pro features. Get this one. You're going to be very happy. And if you got tired and you just want to switch it up, you got tired of your old larger Max phone, it's a nice try to go here as well. So that's how I would choose them. If you found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, click the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already. And any more questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well and peace.